Hey, what's up, guys? So, this is my first video on this channel, but I have been playing on this world for quite a while, and I thought that it would be a cool idea to start a YouTube channel because I've been putting so much time and effort into this world, and I've always wanted to do YouTube. Growing up, that was one of my big dreams, something I really wanted to do. So, today I am going to give a world tour to this world that I've been playing on for 2,000 Minecraft days. Yeah, so we have 27.5 days, which is just about 2,000 Minecraft days. And then obviously time with world open is 40 days. I don't actually know how many that is. I have a lot of AFK time. I got some farms on this world. But we are going to go ahead and start right over here. As you can see, we got quite the nice little village over here. We got a Coliseum. We got a little town here. This is the most recent city that I've been working on, and it's not done. The Coliseum's not done. Most of these interiors are not done. But this little town here isn't actually where I started. I started right over there, and you kind of see that thanks to Voxy. So I was just building over here, so that's why I'm starting here. So I'll give a little tour of this area, and then we're gonna fly over there to where it all started. Even that's not the spawn. The spawn's like way over that way, but I decided to start over there. So let's go ahead and get into it. Thank you for clicking on this video and watching. I hope you guys enjoy. Let's go ahead and get into it. So right off the bat, I'll give you guys a little aerial view of the city. This is the only neighborhood that we really have going so far, but we are going to be expanding all around this Coliseum. And speaking of the Coliseum, we might as well start with that because that's kind of the biggest build here. We don't have that much of an interior. I got most of the floors done, and then the project just kind of became like kind of overwhelming. And so I decided to go work on, the neighborhood right here in the actual city. So, that's why this isn't finished. Sometimes you just have to give it a break if it's, if it's too much. Because if you just, dedicate yourself to finishing everything you start right away, you're just going to get bored of playing. So that's kind of been my philosophy. But, we have a pretty nice Coliseum here, as is. We got this little sandy battlegrounds area. I don't know why there's just a single sand missing here, but okay. But yeah, the interior's not done, but the exterior is looking pretty good. We got all the decorations, we got the lanterns, we got all the, the arches. I really like using the shelf and the trapdoor and the stairs, obviously, to create, a nice little arch. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all there is to the Coliseum right now. I'll go up on top to show you guys that as well. I think one of the things that I am also going to do when the wool slabs come out is I'm going to create one of those like covers, like the wool covers for shade. I don't know what is that might just be called a shade cover. But yeah, and then I'm going to obviously decorate this interior a lot more. But with that done, let's get into the neighborhood. I don't really have names for any of the areas in my world. That's something I definitely got to work on. But yeah, we're right here on the main street. We'll just go ahead and walk down this really quick. So, as you can probably see with the Coliseum, the main theme of my world is Roman. It looks a lot more Roman over where I started. For this area specifically, I've been kind of going with like a Spanish vibe, or a Hispania is what they called it. And before that was the Iberian Peninsula. So you can kind of see that through the like yellow and brick and the white, obviously, and the sandstone. So I'm going kind of for more of like a like Spanish coastline city. This isn't like super historically accurate. Most Roman cities kind of had a similar vibe to them. There's a pretty universal Roman architecture to the cities. So I didn't really look up like city grid lines and how cities in Hispania actually looked to create this. I was just pretty much going off vibes with this one. But I think it looks great. I think it came out, really good. So let's just go ahead and go down the street. Like I was talking about, the interiors aren't done yet. It'll be something I'll work on in the future. We got a nice tough and coral floor in here. But we got a lot of these like market stalls, little market areas over here. I think this is called a pergola. I have a cool data pack or resource pack that takes the ash out of extinguished campfires as well. So that's pretty sick. But we're also growing a lot of the kind of warm biome plants around here. We got the cocoa beans, the sugarcane, cactus, the whole shebang. But over here is the kind of market area. So we got a lot of these like market stalls going on here. And then one of my favorite parts of this neighborhood so far is these kind of like little courtyards and alleyways between houses. This came together. This looks so great. I love this a lot, especially with the leaves kind of incorporated into the pergolas. You got a lot of like bee boxes that kind of just look like regular boxes. It's great for decoration. Who knows what this could be holding. Got a little bell. I think I might put villagers in here at some point. So each of these alleyways kind of has like a pergola covering it. I don't know if this is a pergola. I don't know. I don't know the terms for these. But yeah, and then we have another little market area. I might decorate this a little bit more. Maybe add like a little fountain in the center or something. Let's see. There we get the kind of like the chains going between buildings. I might put like banners on this to kind of show that it's like hanging clothes or something. Here we have just a huge mess of shulkers. And then over here, a couple more buildings. Got a little bit of a smaller one, smaller alley between here. The road kind of fades off, which is cool. More market stalls. One of the other things that I'm going to do in this city is add a lot of like ports and docks. I haven't quite gotten around to that yet, but I think I'm going to have a big port kind of right where the sugarcane is. Oh, and then how could I forget? We got my fastest horse, Harold the horse. This is his name. He has a little hay bale here. Just cool. But yeah, I feel like this is probably one of my most well-decorated builds in this whole world. I think one of the biggest revelations is the market stall or little trading hub areas. These add so much to a neighborhood. It adds so much liveliness. When I get the villagers in here too, there's workstations at a lot of these. Not this one, but there's workstations at most of them. So it'll be like the villagers will be working here during the day. Yeah, super cool. I also like the window designs. That's so important to decorating a build. You get the what is this called? The shutters. Yeah, shutters, and then you have little like shade things up there. I have another data pack that makes chiseled bookshelves 3D, and that actually works great for windows. It adds kind of like the little cross beam things. I don't know the terms for like anything. Jeez. But yeah, that's this area. I'll give a little brief overview of what we're going to be adding next. In the next video, I'm going to be working on this city, which is part of the reason I'm starting over here. But I think one of the first things I'm going to do is over here, I'm going to add like a little barracks or something like that. Because, the gladiators obviously need a little barracks, a train, because they're going to be fighting in there. But I've cleared out all the bushes from this plot of land here, so I think I'm just going to take up this whole thing and make a little like villa style building here. Just with like maybe like 4 buildings with walls connecting them. There's a little center courtyard. So yeah, that's the plan for next video, and I think I'll fly up here to kind of give a larger idea of what we're going to be doing next. All right, this morning. So yeah, like I said, we're going to have a little barracks villa here. And then what we are going to do next is we're going to expand out this way. I'm thinking that we're going to have like a villa up here, and then this whole area, all the way up to like the boulders and that village, is going to be kind of like a farming area. We're going to have crops, we're going to have animal pens, we're going to have maybe like a barn or two, we're going to have a wheat silo. You know, this is just be like the farming area, and then everything immediately surrounding the Colosseum will be a bustling city. So I'm really looking forward to making that. I think I'm also going to build a little town like over here as well. So in the next video, I'll probably kind of plot out where that's going to be. I might be ambitious enough to actually build it in the next video. So we'll see. But I'm looking forward to building this area out. But I think that about does it for this area here. Oh, wait, one more thing. The reason why I'm going for kind of like a Spanish vibe over here is because this island, as you'll see in a second, kind of looks like Spain. Like, kind of looks like the Iberian Peninsula. Yeah, as you can see, it kind of has that shape. You know, this is like that 90-degree angle. France would be right there. Yeah, I don't know. It just kind of like gives off. It has kind of a very similar shape. But yeah, with that out of the way, here is one last look at this neighborhood. We'll be back here building in the next episode, but we are going to go ahead and fly on over to the starting area. And as you can see, this is a much bigger city so far. This is mostly finished. I would say that we're, just about done expanding over in this city. We pretty much filled out this whole area. This is the most recent area that I've been building in. This is my current base. And then right down there is my starter base. That's the first building I built. Sorry about the lag. Oh my gosh. That's one of the reasons I left this this area to go build somewhere else, because it was just getting so laggy with all the villagers. But let me get one last aerial view before I go and start right down in the corner of this city. All right, here's an aerial view. As you can see, this is kind of the big area, and this is kind of the more like farming area. We got a couple of military forts like up here and right over there. So I'll show those off in a second. But let's go ahead and land down over here, and we'll do the tour. We'll kind of go in a linear line that way. So this building right here is pretty special because it's, the first building I did in this kind of specific style where you have the brick and granite at the bottom and the quartz or like bone blocks on top. You can see that with a lot of these. But as we get over that way, you'll see a lot more like sandstone buildings. That's what I started with. A lot of the inspiration when you look up like Roman house is like old, like 2014 Minecraft builds, and they're out of sandstone. So that was kind of the first inspiration I started with over that way. So this is a bit of a newer addition to the city. But you got a nice little villa here. We have a cooler villa that's like my base over there, but I still think this holds up pretty well. Interior's not, fully decorated yet, which is a common theme you'll see among just about all of the houses around here. And this is one of the reasons this area lacks. This is a mess. I'm going to get around to fixing this at some point. But yeah, one of the things you'll see about this whole area, this whole neighborhood over here, is this is the villager trading, district. Yeah, district. So we have a lot of villager trades over here, a lot of iron golem spawning, which is annoying. But one of the most useful villagers that I have over here is the stonemasons. And this is great because it allows me to get quartz without going to the nether, and terracotta without getting exorbitant amounts of dyes. So we have the cool like shelf up here displaying what they trade. Got a little storage area that's pretty much cleaned out right now. This is a mess. But yeah, and then there's a little upstairs area with more villagers. I think these are all Brewsters. That's not what they're called. What are you called? Cleric. The clerics are up here. And then over here, we have the string dealers. This is a very nice way to get emeralds quick, especially because I have a mob farm that gives tons of string. So it's pretty easy to get, large amounts of emeralds through these guys. And then you may have seen there's farmers in there. I have like a melon pumpkin farm somewhere. So that's another great way to get emeralds. One of the other things you'll see in my world is a lot of these armor statues. And these are cool. I can do this through a mod called armor statues. That's just what it's called. But you can just like pose these guys however you want. Put armor on them, let them hold an object. I don't know why this guy's holding a golden carrot. But yeah, this is great for adding immersion. We have like a soldier saluting right here. A less formal soldier saluting. We got the Roman flags, going with the theme of this world so far. But yeah, I mean, that pretty much does it for kind of like this small little, the trading district over here. These are not supposed to be green. All right, I'll put wax on those later. But this is a really cool decoration tip, is to have the lightning rods with a copper golem statue on top. This looks great. As you can see over here, we have like a retaining wall. We have a little neighborhood up here that's not done yet. We're going to be adding some small houses, maybe like a garden right here or something. I don't know what I'm going to do about this, straight cut wall right there, but yeah. Anyways, we have a nice bathhouse right here. This is kind of like a temple building. I think the Romans would have called this, is like in the temple format, but we got a pool here. Got a cat here as well. But it's really cool adding like color to the pillars because, the Greeks and the Romans, the pillars weren't just white. Most of them had like some colored base to them, or the whole thing was colored with like red or, whatever other color. So it adds a lot to the builds to add like color to them. I know that a lot of the images of the ancient Greeks and the ancient Romans, you just think of like white marble. But the paint wears off after thousands of years, and so that's just what we're left with. But back then, the world was a lot more colorful than just white marble. So that's a cool thing that I've been incorporating into this world. But with this temple out of the way, let's get into the sandstone district. It's not what it's actually called, but that's what most of the houses are built out of. I will also show... actually, before I get to that area, I'll show the horse stables. These horses suck. They're really slow. They're nothing compared to Harold. And then I will also show the walls, the city walls. These are awesome. These are one of the largest builds on this world. Probably one of the largest builds I've done, in Minecraft. But as you can see, this looks awesome. They span on for a while. I'll fly around and show you from the air. But yeah, as you can see, we got some protection from the pillagers or the vandals or whatever. So I think that looks really cool. We have some of these kind of like more modern buildings that I built down here. This right here is the track that leads up to my villager breeder, which doesn't look great, but it's very productive, like too productive. I had to shut it down because there's just too many villagers. And there still are. There's tons of villagers up there just roaming free in like a little enclosure. So I'll have to do something about that at some point. But let's go ahead and walk up this path and get back into the sandstone district. So this is one of the most bustling areas of the city. There's a lot of villagers here. We got the arch. I guess this is called South Sunkum. Old Town. Oh, you know what this is? I have what is it called? The Big Sign Writer data pack or mod, but it's for a older version of the game, so now it's getting kind of all messed up. So I'll have to fix that at some point. But yeah, this is this area. This is the town center. I think there's not much down here. The roads aren't quite finished yet. There's a lot of things that I'll have to get to finishing. We got a little sniffer farm here. This is nice. I have tons of the sniffer flowers, which is pretty cool. This has, I'll just show you. Yeah, this has like a rail network underneath it that with like a hopper that collects all the flowers. So that's pretty neat. At some point, I made it into like a little bone meal farm, but it wasn't very productive. Yeah, and as you can see, here's the little like rail network that takes villagers down into the trading district. But trading district is full. There's too many villagers. It's causing too much lag. So this is out of order as of right now. But anyways, let's go through the arch, and I'll show you the arch from the other side as well. There's a little statue of an eagle, but it kind of looks more like a duck up there. And then we get into what that sign said is Old Town. And that is because this is the first neighborhood I really built in this world. These aren't the original buildings. I originally was building out of like mud bricks and stuff. And that just did not fit the Roman aesthetic at all. I don't know what I was thinking with that. But I replaced it with these kind of like exuberant, these like huge mansions. I don't particularly like this style of the city anymore. I might take these down at some point because it just doesn't like, I don't know, it just doesn't fit the aesthetic that much anymore. I'm not a huge fan. But, I don't know. I might keep them up just for historical value or laziness, whatever you want to call it. But let's keep following the road. As you can see, we have a big obelisk over here with a beacon at the base. And then we have the first town center I ever built. The bell, the villagers gather around here. It's super cool. Yeah, the beacon, that's a 9x9. It goes down. And then these are some of the first houses I built in this world. Really briefly, I'll walk down this way. We have something pretty neat over here as well. As you probably saw when I was flying from above, we have the port. This is a pretty big port. We got some docks, some smaller docks going out here. We have the camel. Does not have a name. If you have a cool camel name for this guy, drop it in the comments below. But we got a little house over down that way. This is probably my favorite part of the port is this crane over here. This looks awesome. I'm going to replace that copper with logs or something else at some point. But yeah, this looks awesome. I'm going to go to bed really quick, make it daytime. All right, the sun is rising over our military fort over there. And speaking of military forts, I forgot to show you this one right up here. This was kind of the first military institution. As you can see the eagle/duck a little bit more. But yeah, it's this cool staircase going up. I haven't textured this yet, but from afar, it still looks pretty good. All right, so we're going to walk through these gates. We have a little cherry grove tree, little pathway through here. This pig has been here forever. I also got to give this guy a name because he's just like, he's been here since the very start. As you can see, it kind of has like an overgrown vibe. Not much interior. We'll get to that. But yeah, this is it's kind of the main building up here. Wow, there's like vines growing over. I haven't been up here in forever. All right, but we will leave that fort. I don't know if there's anything else I forgot over here. We also have a beacon in the roof of this temple. But I think the next big thing I will show you guys is this temple right here. And this was actually my second base ever. So I'll fly over there now. So as you can see, we have this nice stairway that goes up. This little room in here was actually a later addition. I had to hollow out a mountain to create this space, but we have a super smelter in here. I think I built this wrong because it doesn't work that good in the it's like fueled based off of the bamboo, but the bamboo always gets in this slot here and it always like clogs up this. I think I may have just built this like too big or something, but I think in the future my super smelters will just be fueled by like coal or like lava buckets or something. Let's see, do I have anything in here? Oh, I've actually been needing that a lot. Okay. But yeah, that's this little like downstairs area. We'll go up to the actual building. As you can see, I'm very rich. I just have like maces out for decoration. The reason I have so many heavy cores is because I was trying to get Windburst for my main mace, and I must have went to like 30 trial chambers or something ridiculous like that. It just like would not give me Windburst. So I ended up getting like 5 heavy cores before I got a single Windburst. But yeah, that was annoying. So yeah, we'll go into the interior. This one actually does have an interior because it was, actually my base. So yeah, this looks pretty nice. We got some of the like flowers. There's a lot of like particles here. I don't know where that's actually coming from. It might be coming from the flowers, but I don't know for sure. But as you can see here, we have a map of the city. And this is actually outdated. We have a lot of stuff over here now that has not been updated. But we kind of escaped the confinement of this map, which is good. We're expanding. The city's bustling. Nothing really in here anymore. But yeah, here's the interior. I had my workstations over here. Another heavy core, my disc collection, my ender chest. What's in here? Oh, yeah. Upstairs, we have some villagers. I don't really need these guys anymore, except for my mending guy. I do need him. He's nice. Oh my gosh, these Endermen. And then we have my enchanting setup over here. Another like little smelting room as well next to it. We got the 3D bookshelves. That looks pretty cool, actually. But let's go ahead and get out of here and keep going on the tour. As you can see here, we also have an original villager house, and I even have a sign for it. Last original villager house. The last remaining villager house. So I actually built this city on top of a taiga village. I destroyed all of the houses to build this beautiful city, but this one still remains. So, I don't know if I'm going to keep it. It's like not at the right Y level either. I've done some terraforming since then, but I might keep it just for the historical value. But where were we? I think we were over here. Yeah, so this was another kind of like trading area. Not a great interior here either, but we'll get to that. These houses are sandstone, but they don't look bad. I think these look all right. As you can see, I use some of the endstone brick, which blends in nicely. Got some vines, has kind of an overgrown feel. Got a lot of like hay barrels. We have a little fishing area. What is this? Oh, it's a mushroom. I don't even remember all the resource packs I have on. But yeah, let's keep walking through here. I like these like connected buildings with the bridge between them. That looks pretty cool. And then we're entering a little bit of like a more modern area once again. As you can see, we have a lot of skeleton horses around here. These just popped up one day and I captured them. Yeah, this was another like sandstone area. I renovated this house, but I haven't done the rest yet. But as we go over this way, actually, before we go over this way, I'm going to show you my original base, my starter house. There's a villager on the roof of it right now. I think he's actually been there a long time. I don't know how he got there. But as you can see, we have a little farming area. This was my first farm, my first animal pen. We got the classic sheep and cow. My sugarcane farm. This is my only sugarcane farm. I don't have a I don't have a sugarcane farm in this world, so this is still how I get it. But here we go. This is the first base. It's not much. It's a pretty small base, but I have my storage area here. I had my bed right there. I think this was my first bed, actually. Nothing down this way. And then up here, I had a little enchanting setup, which is no longer there. I moved it to the temple. And then we have a little bit more storage that I don't use. That's like down this way. As you can see, this is the mud brick era. But we repurposed this for a nether wart farm because I was trying to get a lot of like nether wart or nether bricks. Red nether bricks is the one. But yeah, not a lot down here either. The reason I built this house here in particular is because this is actually directly above the stronghold. So this was kind of the original hole that I dug down to get to the stronghold. We have a dedicated building for that now. That's just right over here. I'll get to that. But yeah, that pretty much does it for the starter base. There's not much to it, but it's a cute little building. Walking down this way, we are going to start to get into a more kind of rural area. This is kind of the last little, like, I don't know what to call this. Like mini town center. A lot of villagers kind of hang out around here because there's a lot of workstations. But as soon as we round this corner, we have some animal pens. This is why I'm probably lagging right now, actually. There's a lot of these guys. And then right over here, we have the dedicated stronghold building. So I actually completely cleared this whole area out underground. As you can see, we have the dragon egg here. We have a beacon down underground. We have a guard here with a spear. This looks pretty awesome. But we'll go down here just for a second. It's not done. This beacon makes it kind of like inconvenient to get down. There's a little like base there with a hole in it somewhere to get to the portal. But I'm not going to go down there right now because it's just kind of annoying to get out. But yeah, we are just about to enter the farm area. So as you can see, the kind of like stone road transforms into a dirt road. And I think actually before I go up there, I will follow this path here to get to the little military installation. All right, here we are. Little military fort area. This is a pretty small one, but yeah, I think it packs a punch. Looks pretty good. This was kind of in like an experimental area of my building. I think as we kind of like travel through this world, I'm noticing like my building gets better the farther we get into the less far we get into the past. So yeah, there's not much interior, but it wraps around. I think I could do a lot with the armor statues mod around here. This would be a cool place to utilize that. And let's actually go to bed really quick. Right by the campfire. While we are up here, I'm actually going to just take a peek down at the villager breeding area. And like I said, there's a lot of villagers. I think I need to like kind of thin the flock a little bit. But yeah, as you can see, I have it blocked off. Oh my god, they just tried breeding, but they can't because they don't have access to beds, which is good. That's what I wanted. But yeah, there's just too many of them. But we have these kind of like fort walls here, which I think are pretty neat. These look pretty cool. But yeah, not much else. This is kind of where the railroad starts. But yeah, not much else to this area. So as you can see, we're entering the second most recent city or neighborhood that I've built. And this looks so much better than over there. I mean, this is just like, this is kind of where I perfected the building style a lot. You got like vineyards, you got the trees, you got a little like wheat silo. Down here you have the farms, kind of blocked by this tree, but we'll go down there in a second. We got a lot of like villas. This is, like I said before, this is my main base right now. This is where I keep all my storage. We're now walking through the crop fields. We got some wheat, potatoes, carrots. We have a little armor statue guy with a Vex head, I think that is. Doing some farming. He's got the wheat and a hoe. Yeah, like I said, the armor statues add a lot to this world. These look really nice. They like fit in very well. Looks like I have like laborers on the fields. And then from the sniffer farm, we have these beautiful flower fields. This kind of looks like a lavender field a little bit. But we're gonna walk up this way. We got another armor statue. We got the silo, and then we're entering the villa, and we have guards here with spears. I think the spear looks great with the armor stands. It just like looks so sick. We got more of the kind of Roman flags. But we entered this villa. I think I had a lead going from here to there. Because I have another mod that lets you do leads from fence to fence. And then this banner was hanging from the lead. All right, now here we are in the little like, city area of the farming district. So we have a little villa here. We got more of the lightning rod copper golem statues holding up kind of this little like shade screen thing, and the access to the sky. I was gonna put a little pool here, but I think it's just a little bit too small. I guess I could do something with like waterlogged stairs. So we'll get to that in a bit. But yeah, there's not much interiors to these yet, but the exterior I think looks pretty cool. We're gonna have maybe like a dock here as well. As you can see, we have a shipyard right here. I'm thinking I'm gonna have a dock that kind of wraps around this whole area, connected to that. But here's another outline for a house we haven't built yet. Yeah, we'll get to that in a bit. But as you can see, this road leads right up to my personal villa. And I'll give a little tour of my base right now because I'm super proud of this. Got 2 guards on duty. We got the flags. This is like a rack data pack. I don't know why these aren't working, but whatever. This is a really cool one. You could like lean shields up against stuff with the armor stands mod. You could lean spears up. So let's go ahead and enter into here. As you can see, there's more glitchiness with the big signs mod. I need to update that. But this was supposed to say overflow. This is where I keep all my farmed items. So things like moss, gunpowder, wood is not farmed, but I just got a lot of it in one kind of day. So I needed a place to store it. There's this little like porch area with a good view of the shipyard. There's no ships in there yet, but there will be. There is one ship out there. I'm not the best at building ships. So this was kind of my first attempt at building a ship from antiquity. It's not the best, but it's all right. It fits in decently. Right down here, we have the moss farm. Moss and bone meal. This is the only sign that hasn't broken. But I pretty much got enough of all this stuff anyways. I don't use this too much anymore. A little retaining wall with this little soldier sleeping down here, and then we have the commander up there in the diamond trims with the shield on. Another guard right here. As you can see, this is the racks mod. You could like put swords and spears and stuff in there. It's a lot of these like little details that really add to the world. Like this just looks awesome. You could tell this is kind of like a little like military building in a sense. There's like a bone meal farm down there, but then this top floor is like maybe a commander's building or something like that. But lastly, I will finish off showing you in here. We got some llamas. We got another horse of mine. I think this guy's all right, but he's not as good as Harold. And then this is supposed to say hub, because this is my main hub. This is where I keep all my storage. This is my workstation. I smelt a little bit. Oh yeah, I do some potion brewing. I collect heads. So this is the main base. And it looks pretty cool. There's a little secret area back here, and then same with upstairs. But I think this is probably my favorite interior in the whole world so far. I love the kind of like the log support beams with the arches. I like the tough kind of like base layer here. This is my first totem. This compass leads to the end of the world. You'll see more of that. I'll explain that later. But then this last building over here is where my enchanting setup is going to be. I don't really need to enchant because I got maxed out gear already. But it's just kind of like a cool little enchanting area. Interior's not finished, but you got the kind of like log support beams, which looks nice. And then over here, we have a couple more buildings. So this is kind of like a vineyard building over here. As you can see, we have a vineyard right here. So I really like the look of this one. I won't even bother showing the interior because it's not done, but it's kind of like a little farming building. Looks nice. You got the greenery around it. You got some of these like someone splitting logs. Yeah, looks cool. We got a little balcony right there. And then over here, I love this building too. More of the copper golem, lightning rod, kind of pillars. Inside of this one is a couple portals, and I was experimenting with a couple mods that allow you to like go to different versions, different world type versions of your seed. So I think this, like, there's one that went to a beta 1.7.3 version of your world, or an amplified version of your world, or like a large biomes version of your world. So that's what that was for. I don't have that mod anymore just because I was like, what's the point? Like, what if they don't update the mod, but I have to update versions, and then I just like lose access to everything I built in there. So I'm not going to be messing around with that too much. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all the buildings in this city and in this world. We have another vineyard over here. I'll go to bed really quick. Yeah, well, we got another vineyard over here. This road actually goes on for quite a while. This goes all the way over to, I have a couple I have like my iron farm over this way. So I'll just kind of fly over to it. I'll fly up too to show you how long this road goes for. Yeah, here's the whole area. This is the road. Goes all the way over there. Oh, and I forgot the shipyard. I'll go over to that really quick. That's kind of the last building. But yeah, we have this. I love this texturing with like the tuff and the coral. Is there anything else? Yeah, it's just tough and like coral variants. But as you can see, I don't know why this is like this. That's wrong. But yeah, we got a lot of these like log support beams. Love doing the arches with the trapdoor, shelf, and then stairs. That looks really cool. This actually does go all the way down to the ground layer at the bottom of the ocean. So that looks pretty cool. I think I'm actually... Oh, I'm missing some over here. I didn't even realize. Oh, whatever. Let's go ahead and follow this road. I'll briefly show off the little farming area, and then we'll take one last look at this city over here. Oh, and then briefly as well, I would like to talk about this mountain in particular. This mountain is one of the reasons why I decided to actually make this a forever world. So the origin of this world, I was actually trying out speed running. Because I was watching a lot of like speed running YouTube videos, and I was like, that looks fun. I haven't played Minecraft in a while. I should try that out. And so I booted up a new world, which was this one. This was the first one I tried. I took my sweet time. I think I got like, it was like 30 minutes in. I was at the stronghold. I had like diamond armor and stuff, so I was pretty geared up. And I was kind of just like in this area, and I looked at this mountain. I was like, that mountain is so cool. It's not like the mountains over this way. These mountains over here, I'll show you in 1 second. These mountains over here are really cool, but these are like realistic mountains. This is the kind of mountain that you would see in real life. These are the 1.18, 1.17, 18, or 19 mountains that they added. This mountain right here is like very old Minecrafty. This is something you would see like way back in the day playing Minecraft. You know, it has a very like unrealistic structure to it. Has the overhang, it has the floating islands. You know, it just kind of gave me the vibe of like old Minecraft. And so I beat the Ender Dragon. I spawned back here because my spawn was set. And I was just like, I kind of want to build something in this world. And then that's when the idea of like making a Roman province in Minecraft came to me. You know, because like I said at the time, I was watching a lot of like Roman history videos. Got super interested in that era of history, and so it all clicked together. And then I started building. I've gotten a lot better at building since I started this world, however long ago. Probably at least like 6 months, maybe like closer to a year at this point, actually. But yeah, I think it's all come together super well. We're definitely not done. We have a long ways to go. I guess forever to go, because it's a forever world. But yeah, following this path here, let's go over to the like iron farm, and I have a slime farm over here as well. Yeah, this is the slime farm. I totally forget how to use this. I have no clue how to use this, but this granted me quite a lot of slime. Yeah, that's like probably enough for a long time. We have a moss farm over here that got blown up by a creeper, so this is no longer functional. I gotta tear this down. Yeah, as you can see, here's the creeper hole. And then lastly, we have the iron farm. It's the most important farm in the world. I think I AFK'd here for probably like 5 real-life days and just got stockpiled on so much iron that I would never have to do it again. But yeah, and then another great thing about this world is this view. Like, these mountains are incredible. Yeah, I got my happy guest here. But, I mean, that pretty much does it. I'll go ahead and fly over here. I've been doing some work in this village, too, as you can see. I've been doing some texturing with the, like, cliff sides with some, like, mossy cobble and tuff and, you know, all the different stone variants. So I'm trying to just, like, make this whole area look cool. So this is just kind of like a vanilla village over here. I don't know if I'm going to keep this, but it's kind of nice. Like, it kind of adds to the aesthetic. But yeah, more of these kind of like mossy cliff sides. We got some boulders over here. That road from over there is eventually going to lead all the way over here through this village to the kind of Spanish Roman city that I'm building over here. But as soon as you get into these boulders, this is going to be like farmland, like animal pens, barns, you know, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, and then as you can see, we also have some nice trees surrounding the Colosseum. But yeah, guys, that just about does it. I think I've gone through the whole world. I have a couple, like, other builds that are far away, like my mob farm, but that's not, like, you know, it's not spectacular. It works spectacular, but it's not, like, a cool build. But yeah, I mean, that just about does it. That's my world. We have a lot of stuff that we're going to be doing in the coming episodes. We're going to be building over there. We're going to be building the farmland and the villa. Once this city is done, I have some ideas for what we're going to do next. We're going to be expanding all throughout this world, adding cities, you know, anywhere and everywhere. We might even expand out of the Roman theme. We might go to like other ancient civilizations like Mesopotamian or Egypt or like Syria. What else is there? Minoan, that would be a cool one. That's not the same time period, but they have some cool architecture that you should look into. But yeah, that's kind of the general plan for what we're going to be doing. Thank you so much for watching. If you're watching this, if you like this video, come back and watch more when more videos come out. Really appreciate you coming and watching this. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.